Jalen Ramsey is still here. Still on the roster. Still a Dolphin. But is he really? You look at him. You see the stats. You hear the words. But it doesn't feel the same anymore. Not like before. Not like when he showed up with fire in his eyes and something to prove. Something shifted. Something's missing. And everyone knows it, even him. The Dolphins didn't move him during the draft. They had chances. The calls came in. The conversations happened. And still nothing. No trade. No fresh start. Just lingering questions and a weight that refuses to lift. That doesn't mean it's over. Far from it. This isn't a finished story. It's one that's paused mid-scene, waiting for the next page to turn. You watch Ramsey on tape, and it's not bad. It's actually still pretty good. 17 games played, 60 tackles, 2 interceptions, 11 passes defended, and a 76.9 PFF grade, 10th among 116 corners. That's not washed. That's not done. That's someone who still knows what he's doing. But it's also not the same Jalen. Not the one that made receivers disappear. Not the one that used to take things personally. There's hesitation now. A beat too late. A look of recognition that age doesn't ask for permission. So why trade him? Why let go of a player who still performs at a high level? Because it's not just about performance anymore. It's about trajectory, fit, timing. The Dolphins are moving in one direction. Ramsey seems ready to move in another, and neither side is pretending otherwise. What really rattled the cage was when the organization confirmed, out loud, that they were exploring trade options. They didn't deny it. They didn't sugarcoat it. It was said, on the record, and Ramsey didn't blink, didn't push back. If anything, he leaned into it, welcoming the idea, embracing the change. That says everything. The name circling the rumor mill louder than most? Baltimore. The Ravens. A team already loaded at corner. A team with Marlon Humphrey, who was elite last season. A team with Nate Wiggins, the rookie they're grooming for greatness. So why Ramsey? Why add another name to an already crowded room? Because Baltimore isn't building for the regular season. They're building for January. For Burrow. For Mahomes. For Allen. They're looking at the scoreboard in the fourth quarter of the AFC Championship game and asking one question. Do we have enough? Do we have that guy who makes the stop when the season hangs by a thread? That's where Ramsey fits. Not as a savior, but as a closer. As insurance. As one more weapon in a defense already built to intimidate. With Humphrey in the slot, Wiggins and Ramsey on the outside, that secondary becomes a minefield. Every throw becomes a gamble. Every route a trap. Even if Ramsey isn't what he was, he's still someone you don't test unless you absolutely have to. But making this work isn't as simple as putting names on a depth chart. The money has teeth. Ramsey's contract hits the Dolphins for $16.6 million. If they move him before June 1st, that number explodes into $25.2 million in dead cap. That's a gut punch. Post June 1st, that burden drops to $6.75 million in 2025. That's manageable. That's survivable. On the Ravens side, it's $9.91 million. Not cheap, but not crippling either, especially for a team chasing a title. But here's where it gets sticky. Ramsey's contract technically runs through 2028, but there's no guaranteed money after 2025. He's playing on a prove-it year, and he knows it. He's not just looking for a new team. He's looking for new guarantees. And if Baltimore isn't willing to renegotiate, there's no deal. Period. Even if they are, the return for Miami won't be huge. That's the reality. This is a 30-year-old corner with limited control over the back end of his contract. He's not a multi-year solution for most teams. He's a rental. Maybe one season. Maybe two. And that drives the price down. Way down. So what does Miami get in return? Not a first. Not a second. Maybe a fourth. A compensatory pick, even. That's the kind of deal we're looking at. Star player, big name, traded for a maybe. That hurts. But it's also the market. And the Dolphins know it. There's also the waiting game. Maybe they hold out until a contender panics. Maybe someone loses a key corner in camp or preseason, and desperation makes the price go up. It happens every year. One injury changes the whole landscape. Miami might be betting on that. And yet, holding on to Ramsey also has a cost. Not just financial, emotional, cultural. You've got a locker room full of young players watching everything. Watching how the team treats its veterans. Watching how they handle awkward situations. Do you keep a guy around who doesn't want to be there? Who's already mentally halfway out the door? Because if Ramsey stays and checks out, that energy spreads. That discontent lingers. It seeps into the walls. That's the kind of rot you can't see until it's too late.